Hello, STR Street Talk Show, Season 1, Episode 1. If you love the show, hit subscribe, hit the like, and smash that notification bell so you never miss an episode. What's the purpose of this STR Street Talk podcast, you might ask? Well, it's five friends meeting up to over coffee to talk about all things new in the world of short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO, whatever you want to call it. We're here to talk about our issues. We're all hosts ourselves. We're all super hosts. Some of us are in the top 1% or 5% of hosts in the world. Not me. I might be close, but so today we're going to talk. We'll just have a bit of an introduction. This is Season 1, Episode 1. We're having a bit of an introduction to ourselves, and we're going to talk. We've got a little bit of a structure, so we're going to talk about some news, and we're going to, let's just refer to the agenda, shall we? We're going to have a look at some news roundup. This week, Airbnb put out their May 1 release, so we're going to have a look at that. We're going to have a look at a listing that's in the top 1% of listings on Airbnb worldwide, which is pretty mega. It's an average kind of listing, but it's in the top 1%, so I think we can all learn from that. We've got segment 4 is our listener Q&A section, and we're going to have a look at the 5 of us are what's called Superhost ambassadors for Airbnb, and we get asked all sorts of interesting questions, and we're going to have a look at our favourite question each from the week. And segment 5, before we wrap up, we're going to have a look at tips, tricks, and news items as well that weren't covered in other segments, and then we'll close. I'm throwing now to Felicity Stevens. Welcome, Felicity.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to be part of this launch and share some words of wisdom with some fellow hosts from around the world. Thanks for having me. All
right, and you're coming in from Wellington, New Zealand, is that right?
I'm coming in from Wellington, New Zealand, but I'm a host in Sydney, Australia.
All right, and Felicity's at the local library. Meredith, coming in from Tasmania.
Hey, Mark, how are you? How are you, Mark? I'm down here in Hobart, Tasmania. We're a host, but, you know, we've known each other for ages, and I host on Airbnb.
Amazing. Sue Jordan, where are you today?
I am on the sunny coast today. Anyone wants to talk about me? I am the author of Ready, Set, Host It. Yep, I'm the author of the book Ready, Set, Host It, the ultimate guide to setting up your short-term rental. I've been hosting for about 9 years. I also throughout Australia. I own 4 of my own Airbnbs on both the Sunshine Coast and in Central Queensland. I've got properties that I co-host throughout Australia. All different size properties. So each property will come with its own benefits, challenges, different things, different markets, which always keeps me busy. And I host on Airbnb via .com.
Amazing. Sue is sponsored by the NBN, the world's best internet provider. And if you want to know anything more about Sue, just look down below in the comments and we'll put up links to Sue.
They're working on our street. We've got to get Starlink because they're working on the street. It's shocking.
Oh, Starlink, yes.
And we've got Jeff Gedge filling in for Boris Johnson this morning.
Yeah, they keep promising they're going to fix it. Anyway.
Tell us about yourself, Jeff.
Speaking from the traditional lands of the Darjawa, also known as regional goldfields in Victoria, where this morning it is a chilly 4 degrees.
4 degrees.
We are moving to winter.
Keep that.
Won't be long.
So to begin with, how about we get talking about our May 1 release?
Oh, wasn't it good?
Did anyone wake up at 5 o'clock or 2 o'clock or whatever time it was?
Me.
Oh, come on, then, Jeff.
No, it was fantastic. You know, my most favourite part is the new category called icons. Now, icons was slipped in. We weren't told about icons beforehand. Mark, you forgot to tell people that's often we get invited to test drive the early releases before they come out to the public. And the icons category was not there for us to test drive. But icons is you can stay at the Barbie house, you can stay at the XMen mansion, you can stay at the Musée d'Orsay, you can stay at the Ferrari Museum.
Of course, Jeff, you want to go to the Ferrari Museum.
Yeah, what about the up house? The house up that has the balloons that takes it away. I mean, amazing.
My luck, the balloons would float up and that'd be it. I'd be gone.
Yeah, you'd totally miss out. I want to stay at the XMen House. The XMen House looks really good, but I think that's in New York. So they're not all the same spot.
Now, listeners, we're all new at this, okay? So this is probably really going to suck. But I'm just going to say, for all of us, I'm going to put in the background, I'm going to put in links to the XMen House. And we'll put in links down below in the YouTube video, how to find the XMen House. And so carry on, Jeff.
If you log out of your account and log back in, you see the 30-minute video.
Yeah.
And that video is pretty cool because Brian Chesky takes everyone through the background and how they develop the ideas and just so much of the detail that's gone into making all those listings. It's phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, go and look at it. It puts a whole new slant on why they've done it. It's exciting.
It's pretty incredible.
And I think Yeah, I think the amazing thing about it is that anyone can actually create their property into an iconic house if you want to. You just need to see what it is and what you have to do to change it, and you will become an iconic property. The XMen House in New York really is just one of many lookalike properties that probably sits out on the Hamptons Peninsula in the state, and all they've done is really customize the house on the interior. The up house is a little bit different, admittedly. The owner of the up house actually physically built it to be like that. But I think one of the things we've been looking at for a long time ourselves is acquiring a castle up in Queensland and turning it into the Rapunzel Castle.
And we can have costumes. I'll
be Shrek.
And
But do I have to grow my hair long?
no, we get a wig for that. But I can make costumes, beautiful costumes.
There you go.
I can't.
Enough about
We're
the
gonna get through
XMen
George,
House,
Jeff.
Jeff. What about the new inbox? That's my
Oh, yeah,
favourite.
go for it.
Where you can see all your messages in one. Like you can see hosting, traveling, support, the whole lot when it works properly, which is most of the time. But I really love that because you don't have to worry about toggling all over the place, and you can get to see all your messages. Don't you like that one?
It's really, really useful, actually.
Yeah.
For me, I would have liked one small change to that functionality.
Well,
But
Brian
it doesn't actually affect everybody. But
I just have to stop you there, Jeff. Brian Chesky, I can see is on the line right now. So just, you're talking directly to the top. Okay, so just could you go back to saying what extra feature you want, because I'm sure he's listening.
I'd like in the top bar of the messages to have a separate bar, to have a separate one just for our ambassador. So you've got hosting, you've got traveling, you've got support. I'd like an extra one called ambassador, which is admittedly is only specific to a very few number of us around the world who do that for a job for Airbnb.
That's not going to happen, is it?
But it's probably not going to happen because it is only a function that is utilised by I think it's utilised by about less than 1,000 of us worldwide.
Well, there's like 40 in Australia.
Yeah.
And you know what I found out in Japan? There is only 5 ambassadors in the whole of Japan.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How many listings are there in Japan?
I'm not really sure, but there's quite a few. They're like, they've got a reasonably big market, and they don't have any problems about hosting because the Japanese government is very pro short-term rentals at the moment. So it's a good place to host.
I've got to say, my trip to Japan was fantastic. I had the best time. We met the nicest hosts. We did the best Airbnb experiences. Totally got to know so much more about the areas that we were staying in. We went to the fish markets. I would never have known what the fish markets were really like and all their history if we hadn't done that Airbnb experience. The guy was phenomenal. And the hospitality was incredible. I can understand why people are flocking to Japan. It is an incredible country and the people are amazing.
Beautiful people, aren't they? I mean,
So
they're shy at first, but all you have to do is start talking and smiling and say a couple of words in Japanese and they're in. They're so sweet.
The food, Meredith, it is phenomenal. We were there for 10 days. We had a different style of food every night. It was amazing. I came home and I feel like my cooking is so boring. I need to do a Japanese course.
Yes, well, I'm going to start making okonomiyaki every once a week, I think, because we did that cooking class.
Oh, we did the gyoza cooking class. That was fantastic. And we all agreed it was one of the best highlights of the whole trip. All of us just sitting around a table in someone's home in the middle of Tokyo, learning how to make gyoza. It was phenomenal.
And was this an Airbnb experience, Felicity?
It was an Airbnb experience.
So it's
and
fine.
it was incredible.
Which I think there was a new addition for Airbnb experiences in the M1 update. Am I right? Sorry, I was listening to Jamila last night and she mentioned, I'm really happy there's something about experiences. Did I miss?
Well, look, I hope it's coming because I know for myself, it's, when I checked into my Airbnb, when I checked into my Airbnb in Tokyo and I was looking at what we were going to do, the first thing I wanted to do was a tour. So I just jumped on the app and found a couple of Airbnb tours, and that's what we did. It was brilliant. And I think there's so much that we can do to help promote what it's actually like when you stay in our cities or our towns, because we're the locals, but we can't do it all. So that's why these experience hosts are brilliant, because they can take someone on a snorkeling trip, or they can take someone and show them how to make gyozas. Or
I think the experiences are what make going to a country. Like I went to Japan, went to Tokyo, we went on a tour, and it was wonderful. We went to Mount Fuji, we went to Hiroshima, we went to Miyajima, we went to all these places, but you didn't really see the real Japan until you stayed in a Japanese person's home. You sat on the floor around a low table with 10 other people and chatted, mind you, in very broken English, but we made ourselves known. You took your shoes off and did the whole Japanese thing. It was incredible. My host took me to pray at the shrine and then to get dressed in a kimono. And, we chatted with my kimono teachers about them becoming visitors to Tasmania. I think, you have to experience it. I think if you don't know much about a country, stay in a room. not an apartment on Airbnb or whatever platform, but stay in a room, because that way you actually get to meet your host and interact with them. Even if you only do it a couple of nights, you learn so much about the country.
Just for our many cast of millions viewers, Meredith, back from Osaka this week. Am I right? We're recording this on Friday, the 3rd of May. Okay, so
Wednesday,
fresh off the boat, and away. Amazing. All right. Well, and can you,
Mark? Actually, Mark, I've got one thing I'd love to add. One thing I'm really stoked about with the new launch is we know the guest favorites button has come out, but what's happened with the latest update is there is now a new trophy, and I'm so stoked because I got it. Yay! So it's me. I am a guest favorite, and I've got the gold laurel wreath. I reckon we need to have a party. I think we need a big toga party to celebrate, because to me that looks like the Greek laurel wreaths. And I know we're famous for parties, and I know we all like a party, so I think we should have a party next time and dress up.
and Airbnb renowned parties, so that's fantastic.
Renowned for not allowing parties, you mean?
We get a party online.
Yeah, no party in the Airbnb, just online.
All right, a virtual party.
A virtual party, I love it.
All right.
Ooh.
Any other last?
I've got all my properties are actually guest favourites, so happy about that. 2 of them have made trophies, which is amazing, because what I find with mine is mine are friendly. I've got pet friendly properties, and one of them is extremely unique and not, and I'm competing with, Sunshine Coast properties, and there's some amazing Sunshine Coast properties, and mine is just this little 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom, dog friendly property, and still makes top 5%. So I'm really stoked with that. So I'll add that to my little list of things too. Pet friendly provider accommodation extraordinaire.
Well done, Sue.
We have
Amazing.
Mark, I was just going to say, what is also interesting about what Sue's saying is, I think others on the call probably have got this as well, is because we've been hosting for so long and we got to know our guests, you sometimes see them going through those different stages of life. And I know for me, we have had guests who've come out to stay with us in Sydney because their daughter or son is living there, and then they might come out the following year because they might have a boyfriend, and then they might come out the following year because there's an engagement party, and then they come out the following year because there's a wedding, and then they come out because there's a baby. And it's really lovely to see people over the years who come and do that, and it's really nice to be part of that life. And they love, now you want to know where the playgrounds are.
I've had photo grandbabies and things like that. Like all of a sudden, the previous guest will just pop up and go, "Hi, Sue, I just want to introduce you to the new." They send me photos and photos of new human babies, fur babies, grandbabies. It is lovely to be really like family to some of these people, and they refer to it as their beach home. Sometimes I go, "Oh, we love that beach house that we don't pay the rent on."
I love my beach house in the Sunshine Coast too, Sue. So
I've got a couple of them.
Can I say? Don't mean to be flippant, but can we move on to the next thing that was on the
agenda,
the May release, the interactive earnings chart?
That is so good as well, isn't it?
I mean, all my hosts are saying they love it.
Yeah, it's really good. Actually, it's much better improved on what we've had in the past. Much easier to see. I like how it lists what you've got coming up. I like how it lists what you've been paid.
Yeah.
I like how it shows what your potential earnings are for the month that you've got booked in so far. I like how you can compare against prior months. And I think that really gives you a really good understanding of when your high and low seasons are visually. And you can try to work out maybe what you've got to do to adjust that coming up.
And what about the other one? The other thing that was on there was the guided photo capture. Has anybody had any comments about that yet?
Yep. So I use mine. Really easy to use. It then actually makes suggestions on how to improve it. And if you click OK, it actually just goes ahead and does it for you.
So hopefully we'll get guests coming with actual photos of themselves instead of.
Well, that's it. It will not accept a photo of a cartoon character or a dog or a cat or your couch or your house. It will only accept a picture of a human. Now, admittedly, you could actually take a picture of another person and it wouldn't know the difference. That's probably a little bit of a flaw, but it will stop those ridiculous ones where we have, Luke Skywalker wanting to book into our house.
Yeah,
that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah, I've got a cactus because when
Oh,
cactus
good on,
yeah, we got a cactus. Oh, that's the profile photo.
Yeah, all right. And
a cartoon cactus at that.
I think I'm liking the group features. I'm not sure where that is, but so many times, a lot of my houses are 4, 5, 6 bedrooms, and so I think that's going to have real, couples booking in. I was saying to us last night that they can't quite share the payment arrangements at this point. I think that if Brian is listening in, Brian, I probably would say a way that Felicity and Sue and I can, pay thirds would probably be fairly useful, but maybe we'll see that.
So can I ask why am I not invited?
And me, hello.
Yeah,
I know I have to take the plane to come, but I can.
I think you're busy that day.
I'm a
Sorry,
gold
Jeff.
member on Virgin. I can come anytime.
Yeah, I got chairman's lounge on Qantas.
Yeah, I like the group sharing as well, because we travel a lot with to real estate investment conferences and different things all the time. And 3 couple or 4 couple that'll book one property, and who's getting there first, and the chat and and sharing and checking information.
Exactly,
and,
exactly. And what's the Wi-Fi password again?
What I was disappointed about that function. So the one thing I was disappointed about that function that I would have liked to have seen, I would like it to be mandatory where a guest books for more than one person, for the guest to actually have to enter the names and the email contacts or all of the other guests. Now, currently that's an optional, right? So when you're booking as a guest, like when I take my own family away, and I take 5 of us with the kids, I get the option of entering that information, or you can still ignore that and you only have me as the contact. I think it'd be great for hosts, and I think it would give hosts a lot more comfort, because I had a question on this just this morning from someone. If they knew the names and the contact details for everybody who was coming to stay, well, everybody over 16 or over 18. That was coming to stay.
One of the things I thought was interesting with this group booking is that only the person who books the property can leave the review. However, when we go review the guests, that review goes onto the account of everyone in there. So it's a great opportunity for someone who's new to hosting, new to being a guest on Airbnb, who might have been, brought along on a trip to actually get their first review, to then feel confident to go on and book again. So I think that's great. Yeah.
I think that's the best part of it, because the other guests get involved in the whole process, learn a bit more about it, so that maybe they'll become Airbnb guests properly themselves in the future.
Yeah, like when you see a new, you take a booking request from with Airbnb for X number of years with no reviews, I'll often ask and say, "Oh, I see you've been with Airbnb for 5 years. However, you don't have any reviews. Is there an issue?" Sometimes it's because they have Airbnb again, but a lot of the time we'll say, "Oh, my sister normally books," or "We normally book on my husband's account," or "We normally book on my wife's account," or whatever. So these guys have actually travelled a lot. And have no reviews, and I know some hosts don't take guests without reviews. I do. I mean, I introduce them to Airbnb and teach them to be good guests. But yeah, I think that's people travel that people.
Well, so I think it really segues into a really good question. That's probably going off agenda, and for everybody who's listening, we'll drive Mark psycho when we go off agenda. But what about taking guests that have no reviews? It comes up so often as question: should we or shouldn't we? My personal view is, I do as well. Everyone is a good guest until proven otherwise.
If I get a request from someone with no reviews, or that has never been a guest before, I will have a chat with them, and I'll ask them why they're coming, and how come they've never had a review before, and things like that. And usually you strike up a rapport with somebody and it's fine. It's really just the unknown why a lot of hosts won't take people with no reviews. So communication's key. Mark, sorry.
I will always insist that every guest has to be government ID. Otherwise, I will take them if they've got government ID verified. But even if it's their first visit, that's fine. That's just my. Sorry, did I cut you off, Sue?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I always remind them as well, in a nice way, and say, I'm happy to take first-time guests. And then not in a subtle way, sort of say, travel becomes easier once you get your first review. Because I'll say, look, I've noticed you have no review. Configuration of the group, all the usual things. And then I say, travel becomes easier once you get your first review. We hope you go on to fantastic Airbnb. And then I say, make sure that you put the app in your phone. You'll receive several emails from Airbnb. So I'll even say, I'm going to accept this booking now. You'll receive multiple emails from Airbnb. All the information will be under trips on either your PC or your app. Download the app onto your phone. This is where we'll communicate. We'll send a message, X number of days or on the day of checking, whatever your thing is. So, and then, saying, just please reach out if you have any questions. So I do remind them that they are going to get a review from me as well. I think that helps as well. But I sort of teach them how, and they're all just quick replies. I don't this all out. There's got a quick reply that's accepting first time booking, accepting first time traveller. Bang, done, sort of thing. So I think education is really important.
But the 5 of us, I think, are wise enough that if we get an inquiry for tonight from a first time visitor who lives in the next suburb, what alarm?
Oh, that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
That's another. That's a whole.
Oh no, that's Felicity having a party, I think.
Yeah,
it's my toga party because I'm so excited that I'm his favourite. Come and join me.
Well, speaking of guest favourites, why don't we leave?
Can I put that? We'll talk about red flags and a whole other thing. We could go for days on red flags.
Can I bring up another topic that's pretty hot on Airbnb at the moment, and that's the verification of location. Now I'm having quite a few hosts having issues with verification of location, and they're all going, "Oh, I can't do it. It won't change." And I've found that there's cases where people need to go into their Google Maps, type their address, move the pin to where they actually are. And it may take a day or two for it to actually stick, but it should help them redo their verification, because a lot of people are having the same issue. Have you guys noticed anything about
Yeah,
this?
for those who don't know what we're talking about, we will put an article in the links down below about this Airbnb verification issue, and we'll probably, Meredith, I think we should do a separate little video showing how to set up to do your verification. So
yeah, because you have until June 9. We have until June 9 to do it. I'm doing mine on Sunday, so I'll tell you next week how it went.
Well, maybe what we can do is,
the other problem is
what we can do is screen record you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll put the camera on.
Yeah, we'd screen and record you and publish it to the world. We'll put you a private address. We'll put it.
What if you can't do it?
Yeah, what happens if it doesn't work?
Well, Brian is watching, guys. Brian is watching. He's our number one guest, a number one viewer. He'll be watching, and he will see the bugs in real life.
The other problem is for remote hosts. I've got a lot of hosts who host in Tassie but live in Melbourne or Sydney, and they can't actually be there and take the verification photographs. Oops.
But there are some ways around that, and there's a few different ways listed in the what if you wrote the article, Matt, that you've posted? There's a few different ways that hosts can get around doing that to get that set up. So yeah.
I think the important thing
if they're interstate, how can they take the verification photo?
Mark, have you got the article open? I think they talk about how you can get other people to go down and take the photos. Is that correct? Or am I imagining that?
Yeah, co-hosts can do it. So you can always make
co-hosts. Yep, that's it.
But if they don't have a co-host,
I got the list to verify, but there's nothing on my dashboard asking me to do it.
No, mine appears on
I haven't been.
I'll show you my screen. I think the important thing that everyone has to know is that don't ignore it. Okay, if you haven't done it by June 9, they are going to take your listing off. Okay, let's see if this works. I might just need to
where is it on your? Because I haven't got it on the app. I haven't got mine anywhere. I haven't been asked to do it.
that's because you've already been verified, Sue. Mine was verified, and if you
Yes,
I've got
all mine are
if
verified.
you search your spam, you should find a verification notification, because mine was in spam.
Yeah, I do. Mine. Oh, okay. So
it's because you've been around
verified
for a while and you've had good guests. They've verified your location, and some people.
I don't understand why Jeff has to do it. His private room, he has to
it's
verify.
my private room. So my houses are fine. It's my private room listing.
Yeah, okay.
That needs to be re-verified. And it actually
So I'm not worried about that, because I thought you were verified. I know I've been verified.
Okay.
Mark's been verified.
So you can't see it because I can't work out how to take my background screen off. But when you go onto your dashboard, the very first thing you'll see is a note under Welcome Back. Listing verification needed, required by 9 June 2024. Click here to start the verification process. So you cannot miss the note.
Yeah.
The thing that we're trying to get our hosts to understand in our area is people tend to just ignore these things. Don't ignore it. I think Airbnb is serious. They will remove your listing if you don't do it.
But there is that big problem that if you're in Sydney or Melbourne and you've got a listing in Tassie, you've got to fly to Tassie to take the photo.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe that's a tax-deductible flight, seeing how it's so we're all.
And if your property is in Hobart, you can actually stay at Meredith's house.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we'll give you Meredith's address. We'll put Meredith's address in the links below. Just ring her up. She's always available, no problem.
Now, Meredith can cater for up to 4 people in her property downstairs. And she's buffet.
So Brian and Joe are fine, and maybe Sue and Flick could go and have a little reunion.
Well, I've got an airbed, so I can bring my airbed and just, we can put a chat. Be good. I think one of the interesting things about this verification process is the why, and why do we have to do this? And I think
tell us why.
Well, we do need to verify the number of beds. That's right.
So important.
It's so important. I don't know about you, but I got caught out traveling to the States, and I booked an Airbnb. It looked great. The guy seemed fantastic. The place looked really good. And what happened is, I won't say exactly where it is, but my husband and I traveling, got the train, got the bus, got off the bus. We thought we were walking to the right spot. No.
Not there.
There was no house. There was no house. And we were like, right, okay. We might go back to Starbucks and call Airbnb. We went back to Starbucks, called Airbnb. Said, I've got a bit of a problem. I've got this booking and it doesn't seem to be in the same location. Anyway, we got hold of the host, and what the host had done, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. They'd set up their listing, dropped it into one area of town, but in actual fact, the listing was on the other side of town. And the interesting thing was I had chosen that listing because of that location, because I wanted to be able to walk to the conference.
As you do.
I had to pay for an Uber, and it was, I don't know, $25 each way in the Uber. And I was like, I'll blow that. I wanted to be able to just roll out of bed and walk over. And that's why.
Location is everything. And can I just say, our last hotel stay in Japan was in Osaka, where we stayed for 4 nights in a Umeda hotel called Umeda Holic. And the hotel itself was lovely. We arrived at night. The next day we went walking, looking at what was in our neighbourhood, and found some really interesting things in our neighbourhood, and had them confirmed by our taxi driver that, yes, we were in the Love Hotel district.
Did you just say you stayed, Meredith, did you just say you stayed in a hotel?
Yes, unfortunately, that was the booking.
Did you say hotel?
I stayed in a
Was
hotel.
it an Airbnb hotel?
Terrible. But I did stay in Airbnbs. I did stay in a hotel. And, you know, it was a nice hotel, but it was in the Love Hotel district.
Oh, well, yeah.
So
We're
that
obvious
presented
and lovers,
itself.
so
But I think that's one of the things. Is many.
I'm
many
jealous.
guests-
Why
many
wasn't I invited?
Next time.
is that so is that got something to do with those ads where you can pick the bedtime? Is that how it works?
Yeah, well, anytime where you can book your hotel by the hour is an
Did
interesting
they
hotel.
change the linen?
No, I have to say that the hotel we were in wasn't a Love Hotel, but the one next door was.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
tried to go in there to eat because we thought it was a restaurant, seeing as we couldn't read Japanese letters, but they wouldn't let us in for some
Did you
reason.
read any French letters while you're over there?
Sorry?
Any French letters while you're over there?
Let's not.
So going back to this experience that I had where I went to my Airbnb that I booked and it wasn't there. The guy was lovely. The place was lovely when we got there. To me, it was a bit disappointing. So I understand why some of my friends, and they say, "Oh, I'm not sure if I want to stay on Airbnb." They're a bit disappointed. They've had a disappointing experience. So I think that's why it's so important that we all get our places verified. And if we know people are doing it, encourage them to get their places verified and understand it is so important, because if you're not verified and a guest turns up and they have a not such great experience, then they may not come back to the platform.
Exactly.
So it's really important we all do our bit. And
I think it's one of the best moves that Airbnb's made to do
Is
the
things
like
worldwide? Are they doing
I mentioned it
worldwide by the
week.
9th of June?
So worldwide,
I
7 million
you might
listings.
find that, yeah, you might see also is slow when you first start before you get that first review. Sometimes that first booking can take a little bit of time because guests or experienced guests are to book something without reviews nowadays because they're not sure if it's real. Like I booked properties where I was the first guest because I can read. You could read it. You could see that like this girl had done a really. I went and rebooked it a couple of months later and she became a super host, so it was really exciting actually. I said, "Oh, well, look, you're a super host now," and I was her first guest. But I co-host a property that was brand new. This week I actually had one of its first bookings. It has reviews now, but this was one of its first bookings. I think it's coming in next week or the week after. And he actually said he only booked it to see my profile. Otherwise he would have, because it's beautiful. It's in Brisbane City and it's absolutely beautiful. So it could look too good to be true. So he actually said, "I'm booking this because I want to find if it's legit, but knowing that you're there as a super host, I can see your," and I said, "Yeah, go ahead and read my profile. You can see multiple reviews, multiple properties and all that sort of stuff." So he felt secure that way. Otherwise he may not have booked it. It was just the host. He wouldn't have believed that it was real. So getting them verified is going to be really good.
I
And
think
it's also just
verifying-
say we
I'm
want
gonna
people
go-
to travel on the platform because they're going to go and save our places too. You know.
But I think we'll find verifications here to stay, and we'll be asked to do it every couple of years. I mean, the reality is the
Yeah.
platform is now so big. Airbnb needs to have hosts re-verify in order to work out what's fraudulent and what's not. Over 7 million properties exist on this platform. It's the largest platform of its type in the world. Our next closest competitor is Booking.com, which only has 2.2 million properties on it globally.
And probably hotels.
Oh,
that's right. And a lot of those are hotels. That's exactly right.
in other news, VRBO has just introduced a 7-day listing ban for hosts who cancel, the strictest ban of any platform.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think?
Do any of you host on VRBO?
Yeah.
Ooh, don't
I
cancel.
never can.
I don't. Well, I need to get a book. I need to get a booking
Yeah,
first to
I
cancel.
need a booking first to be able to cancel on there.
That's right. I don't. I won't lose my breath on VBR.
I just think it's really interesting because Airbnb's had a strict cancellation policy for a while, and what's going on there, Felicity? And now the other platforms are coming in with even stricter policies. So I think that's pretty interesting. And something interesting is happening back there in Sydney.
Actually, these are my folks. Do you want to meet them? And I'm actually
100%.
tell you a really great story. And this is why I love being an Airbnb host.
Okay, let's meet Felicity's mum and dad.
Drum roll, people. Hey, after this, we are going to move on and we are going to look at a verified host. And by the way, we will put down in the messages below links to Sue's property in Brisbane, which could be too good to be true. And all of our properties, there'll be a link to all of our profiles and things like that below. So anyone that wants to see that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for the guests. What was Felicity?
Who don't want to be introduced?
Okay.
What was your...
Hey,
This is my
Mum and
mummy.
Dad. How are you?
And
Hey,
this
Mrs.
is
Smith.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Heard lots about
What's
you.
it like, Mum and Dad? What's it like having a superstar daughter?
We haven't got one.
Does she charge you when you stay at her place?
No.
Have you ever had a party? Because I can recommend if you're ever in the North Shore of Sydney and you want to have a party.
In Manly.
Yeah.
Please
I think Mummy came to the big party last year.
I did.
Yeah, about 100 people there.
My invitation must still be in the mail.
Yeah, I'll tell you about the next
Okay.
one. Big one coming up.
Dad, don't go. I want to know about your book collection.
No, that might take forever. Mum.
Get started.
You just want to
But,
move
you know,
on.
this is one of the really neat things about being an Airbnb host. I can host in Sydney, and with my folks, that's not doing so well. I can come backwards and forwards and travel. And if I was in a regular job working for someone else, how do I go and explain, actually, Dad's not doing so great. I'm going over tomorrow. This way, I pack a few bags. I talk to my housekeeper. I run it with my husband and kids. Guys, I've got to step up. I need to travel. And I can do that because I'm a host.
So how do your parents like it when you book, strangers into their house?
Well, my uncle and aunt are staying at the moment, so I actually got kicked out last night. So I'm around at my sister's place. So yeah, it's okay.
All right. Well, we're going to move on. We're going to spotlight. We'll move on to segment 2, and that is our listing critique, and which is a combination also of segment 3, which is our host spotlight. And we're going to have a look at a listing that's in the top 1% of worldwide listings. Folks, hold your breath. Strap on. Here we go.
I
was looking at this one this morning.
This is Catherine.
So was I. I love the couch.
Very sustainable host.
She's a very sustainable host. A lot of her furniture is all upcycled and repurposed. She's a legend. This is Catherine.
Okay, so what do you notice here, people? There's no photo tour.
Oh, no. Catherine, how can you be top and not have a photo tour?
I don't have a photo tour. I hate the bloody things, and all my stuff is repurposed. So just saying as well. But
we're just rock stars here.
Oh, okay, but she does have captions, which is a very, very good feature. But I think the thing that's remarkable about this listing is that it's so unremarkable, but yet it's in the top 1% worldwide of Airbnb listings. So Catherine must be doing lots of the everyday.
She's an exceptional host. That's why she's in the top.
What struck me about this listing when I looked at it this morning was the pictures don't inspire me. They don't jump out, right? So what I find amazing about it is, if I was looking in the dashboard when you do your search, would I actually have stopped on this property to book? And the answer is no. Her hero shot for me of the lounge room with the red couch wasn't enough. So stop, go back, right? Something like that.
I love the barn door, by the way.
I would stop for that, right? Because I think that is a far more interesting hero shot.
Yeah.
That gets me first of all, because that's just to me stylish. Look at that bed, comfy, neat, clean. If I'm looking for a room, it's got everything going for it.
They're not professionally taken, though, are they, these photos?
No. Go back to the bathroom shot. Oh, I like that picture. Go back. Yeah, that awful. Clear out the crap. Yeah. Really, seriously, that's awful. But
it looks like someone you don't know.
Yeah. Now, as another hero shot, the next photo you've got, that is great. Love that. It's so when you're looking at your hero shot, I suppose what I'm looking for is something that is interesting that says, okay, let me click here to see what's behind this photo. That's not bad.
To me, this looks like a really nice, neat, clean, well-maintained property.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That should be up front to me.
Yeah, I think the important thing here is that the photos obviously don't make this a 1%.
No, but she's got it. She is a 1%er.
She's a 1% host,
yeah.
And that means that she is an amazing host.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
she wouldn't get that trophy. So
no, totally
important.
Totally, because you look at the back end of all of these photos looks really good. It's really interesting. It's the front end photos that astound me. Look, I mean, she's got an average rating 4.94. That's not bad.
400.
But you see, it's interesting, isn't it? What would do it for you and what would get you interested? See, if you go back to that front shot where you see the mixture of shots there, I look at that and I can see solar. And as someone who's always trying to support sustainable travel, and
where do you see solar?
If you go back to the cover shot, there is a mixture. You can see the solar, which is so important because to me that shows they're taking steps to reduce their emissions, and that is really important to me. So if I saw that, that would stand out to me from another house that didn't have it. But that's me. That's me.
Well, we have a shot with solar panels as well, because I think that's really important. And a lot of people want to know that you're, doing your bit for the environment and being a sustainable host. But the cover shot could have been so much better. That cover shot there, as Jeff said, that red couch is a winner. Why not focus on the couch?
Yeah, more so than those chairs. At the moment, this photo focuses you on those chairs and the TV. Whereas I think you could reposition that furniture to make it more interesting, focusing on the red couch.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder where she keeps her Airbnb pillows.
Oh,
does she have any?
I love
mine. Hang on.
I love my Airbnb pillows. They're awesome.
Mine are
Is there anyone here that doesn't have an Airbnb pillow?
Who knows?
Mark.
Does anyone know the history of the Airbnb pillows?
So do you not have them either?
Hi guys.
But this is the original Airbnb logo.
Wow.
So Brian, thanks very much. We were really stoked when you took our feedback on board and we saw you in one of your clips with the cushions. Brilliant Christmas present.
I have a key ring. This is your key ring, by the way, Jeff.
Jeff, he's dangling that key ring in front of you, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. But the history to the pillows, everyone, is that Brian's mother made him the original pillows right at the very start of Airbnb.
Oh, she was
a lovely lady.
I like
and
her.
So what happened was, it wasn't until we all saw them on the couch in Brian's lounge room in a meeting that universally, I think, around the world, over 1,000 of us said, where do you get the pillows from? Now, poor Brian can't ask his mum to make 1,000 pillows. I mean, that would be a little bit like, slave labor of the elderly. But there you go. That's the hero. That's the history to the pillow.
But the pillows.
I booked an Airbnb. Pillows were in it, so I thought, he has to be a community leader, and it's actually Louise in town. So I booked her properly last week or this week. I thought, there's the pillows. Click, that must be Louise.
But the pillows.
But I've got to go, guys. I'm ready to go. I will catch you all next time. And I reserve my opinion on that listing. I got so many things that I would say about that. To be polite and just leave the conversation. Okay, see ya. Bye.
Bye.
So we're getting we're at 10:30 now. Are we
Well, we're making our way through, and this is season 1, episode 1 of the STR Street Talk podcast. And okay, we're learning as we go. So I guess the thing we were talking about, Catherine's listing. I mean, I'm proud to know her, and I'm proud to know someone that's in the top 1%. But I think what's encouraging for all of us is if Catherine can do it with an ordinary, and no offense to Catherine, but an ordinary looking property, she's just extraordinarily good at doing the cleanliness, the accuracy, the check-ins. She obviously looks after her guests, and maybe that is the secret.
I think
it definitely is the secret. It's superhost, be a superhost, and actually be a superhost. Really, actually mean it. Like, care about your guests. That's what hosting is all about. Not just chuck this in, chuck that in. Oh, they'll be okay. We have to care about our guests, every single one that comes, and that's what gets you that top 1%.
Yeah, her rates, like it's very good value for something that's in the top 1%. So I mean, it's very good value. I'm just looking at what she charges and for cleanliness, whether there even is a cleaning charge. She does offer a weekly discount, so that's good. There doesn't seem to be a cleaning charge at all.
I think a lot of us have gotten rid of our cleaning charges now because we don't feel that that's the right way to go.
Yeah, I know I went to book a property in Sorrento down here for 5 nights, and it was a large house, right? So the booking fee was $14,000, but they wanted to charge a $1,400 cleaning fee. Come on, get real. I'm not paying $1,400 for cleaning when I've already paid you $14,000 to stay there for 5 nights. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Can I say, Jeff, when did you make your first billion?
I think it's very interesting, Jeff, having my uncle and aunt and chatting with them about what we do and how we do it. And my uncle piped up and said, he was a bit fed up with using Airbnb because he said there's just all these fees. He said he just wants to look at a place, find the price, and book it, and know that that's a nightly price. And he said, we'll go in, I'll look at a place, it's $200 a night. But then when I go to the checkout, there's a cleaning fee, and then there's all the other fees. And he said it's ridiculous. Suddenly, I thought I had my budget sorted, but I don't because of all.
But he obviously hasn't been on there for a long time, Flick, because that hasn't been like that for a while now.
Well, there are still
get shown a total price.
Well, there are still also many people, I think, who charge cleaning fees. So
yes. But when you look, you see the total price now. You don't see just the basic.
Good point. Very good point. I hadn't remembered that, Meredith. Thank you for that. I'm going to go back to him and talk about that over lunch with him. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Another good thing, I think, with Catherine's profile, Catherine's listing is Catherine's profile. This is something that they did talk about in the M1 update, or certainly the version that we saw, our sneak peek, was that they're trying to encourage as many hosts to update their profile. And if you looked at Catherine's profile, you'd have absolutely no qualms about booking with her, would you?
No.
I mean, this is almost perfect. She's a retired firefighter. We know about her. She speaks English. And like, as you get into it, how are our own profiles? Does anyone feel confident to put their own profile up?
I'll share mine with you. I've got it up at the moment. Hang on. Now, how do I share, Mark?
There's a button called present.
Oh, yeah. I think you have to stop presenting because on that button it tells me that you're still presenting. Okay, let me present. So, okay, what is that? Well, I see. We don't want that tab, do we? We're
professionals here, ladies and gentlemen. We really know what we're doing.
Well, I really have to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're getting a bit late. I've got another one. Sorry.
You need to go now.
Sorry.
Okay. It's been great. It's been great having you on board, Meredith. And for those that can stay, fantastic. For those that want to be in contact with you, Meredith, about all sorts of hosting things, we'll put all your contact details down below.
Yep, no problem. I'm happy to answer any questions people have.
We'll even put your referral link.
Okay. See you guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, Mary.
Bye.
Mark and Jeff, I think I'm going to have to leave you because my folks have gone for lunch and they're where are you, Flick? So I'm going to go. But this has been fantastic. I can't wait to tune in next week and see what we talk about. And I'll see you all next week.
Are you hanging around for a little bit longer, Jeff?
I can if you like.
Well, thanks for joining us, Felicity.
Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
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 All right. Now we get to talk.
What about Sue's internet connection? I mean, can't we take up a collection or we'll petition Albo to get some decent NBN up on the Sunshine Coast. Come on.
No, they just need to fork out like you and I have and get Starlink. Guys, Starlink, best internet ever. No guest complaints about internet at my place in the range.
We love Elon.
Yeah, we do love Elon. Yes.
Okay, well, maybe we can't look at your host profile, but that's something we'll revisit next week, and we'll get all of our technical things under control. Do you want to just have a look at my mentee question of the week? And I'll pop that up on the screen. Jeff, it's in your notes. I got a message from one of my mentees, who we'll just call MM. That was this person. I won't say if it's a man or a woman. It's not relevant. My property is not suitable for pets and young children. Am I allowed by law to refuse children from staying at this property? Now, Jeff, you and I are both lawyers, so tell me about the Anti-Discrimination Act and whether we can.
The answer would be no. I've got a property. One of my smaller property is openly advertised for couples, but the reality is I cannot stop. Well, firstly, you cannot stop a couple from bringing an infant. An infant is anyone under the age of 2. And frankly, pets are pretty much the same these days. I mean, the problem with the pets law is that any man and his dog can now claim it's a support animal, and they don't have to provide you with any evidence of that whatsoever. Right? So, you can try to discourage them from your listing, but if somebody's going to check in with their 5 children, you have no basis on which to evict them from your property.
Yeah, I mean, I think this lady, if I could be frank, she said to me, the property's not suitable for children. I was thinking to myself, that's interesting. How did it get passed through council even though it's unsuitable for children?
Is it the furniture? Does she have a lot of ornaments or something?
Well, it's an apartment. I won't say where it is. It's an apartment that there could be shift workers in the apartment block, and maybe the apartment is fine, but it may be near the water as well.
Right. Okay.
Maybe. I think you can read between the lines.
It would be hard to imagine that somewhere is not suitable. I mean, I've had some mentees who have said, we don't want children because they'll break things. My response is take them away.
Yeah, I mentioned to the person, maybe she should just turn instant booking off. That was my recommendation. Can you think of any other
that's a good way, because everything will come through as an inquiry. And in an inquiry, you can then openly say, look, I really don't think our property is suitable for children. Okay. My stone house, which you can see in the picture behind me, is 3 stories. And the reality is it has stairs, and it's not that suitable. If you're over 80 and you find it difficult to do stairs, you're better off knowing that this is not the house for you.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think you can deal with that. I think you can manage that situation, but I don't think you can openly say in your listing, children and pets not permitted. That will fall foul of the discrimination legislation.
Have you got anything from your week that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, the big no-no this week, and it came through at 5 a.m. this morning. One of my hosts sent me a note saying they were getting their first booking. Yay, well done. Here's the problem. The photos they had used in their listing were not actually their photos. They had just picked a selection of random photos of rooms that looked really, really good. And the host wanted to know, is this a problem? Hell yeah. When that guest turns up and finds out that they're not staying at your property, they're going to ring Airbnb, they're going to complain, they're going to get a refund, and the host will be lucky if Airbnb even allows them to stay on the platform. So my suggestion is make sure your listing is honest. Make sure your photos are up to date.
Accurate.
These are all things that will get you into big trouble in the new world.
Yeah. So I'm absolutely 100% sure that Catherine's accuracy, she's got 4.9. She should have to be 5 for accuracy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered quite a lot. Listeners, thanks for bearing with us. This is season 1, episode 1 of the STR Street Talk show with Mark and Jeff, and Felicity, Meredith, and Sue. Thanks for joining us.
We want you to know that Felicity, Meredith, and Sue bailed out early.
Yes, and we thank Brian for sticking with us right to the end.